We got a big world with big enemies and lots of big personalities. And we're going to talk about it as we cover the long awaited first 13 episodes of Attack on Titan this week on Shonen and Suds. Cody. It's morning time, it's brunch time. But I got some eggs going, I got some pancakes going. Cody, how are you, brother?
Oh, Chris, I'm good. We are here on a special morning edition of Shonen and Suds.
Shonen and brunch
Yeah,
is
Shonen and
what it's
brunch,
called.
exactly. Yeah, we're coming to you a Friday morning, so we're a day late. That's okay. We're excited for this episode, Chris. This might be our earliest episode we've recorded. One of the
Yeah.
earliest.
Mm-hmm. And definitely one of the most one of the ones that we've been wanting to do for a while. I would say, Cody, this one we've been wanting to do Attack on Titan almost as much as we wanted to do Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, I think these are just some of the shows that we kind of held off on just because we knew they would win. Now, granted, for AOT we threw up some competition and it was a close battle,
Mm-hmm.
but
yeah,
definitely one
we got there.
Definitely one we've been wanting to cover, especially like as we'll talk about on the news. The final season should be wrapping up this year.
Should be, but we'll see.
Should be, but the show just continues to keep going, and I can't complain, honestly.
Dude, and I'm trying to figure out why the hell I stopped watching it in the first place. Like I've seen season 1 is all that I've seen, and it's been a few years since I've watched it. So a lot of this is it's coming back to me as I watch it, but I'm like, I don't remember that guy. Oh yeah, I remember him. Or oh yeah, I forgot that guy's fucking dead. Or you know what I mean? Like just those little things as you see the things unfold on the screen. Because I mean, there's a lot here. It's just such a terrific story, such a terrific world. I mean, it gets. I understand that it starts to get a little more out there the further along the story goes. But that's anime, right? That's anime, baby.
Yeah, it definitely does. Without spoilers, it does get a little out there, but the way it comes together is good in my opinion. Obviously, I don't know how this thing comes to a close, so I'm not gonna even. I barely Google anything about Attack on Titan, Chris. I've been dodging spoilers as much as I can, which is not easy because these comment sections on TikTok and YouTube are ruthless. You gotta just bobbing and weaving, especially even now, like I'm watching One Piece. Like now I can't just randomly watch some random anime ranking video because they'll bring up some arc in One Piece I haven't gotten to. So like. Gotta definitely be careful on what I check out.
It's the plight of being behind on the anime that you watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And that's why, to be fair, like I mean, we're approaching. How old are the first couple seasons of this? I mean, we're approaching like 8 to 10 years old on most of this Attack. I mean, I want to say we're almost a decade old for the first season of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I believe it started airing in 2013. So.
Yeah, so we're close to a decade. So spoilers are ahead, but as we're talking, Cody, if you happen to spoil something, don't feel the need to bob and weave too much around it. I mean, just for the sake of the podcast, if you try your best, but if something slips out or something, don't go around your elbow to get to your thumb just for my sake. It's my fault that I haven't been caught up. Like I blame myself.
Oh no, Chris, trust me, I will not spoil a thing. Don't you worry, buddy. I got your back here.
Thanks, babe. I respect it. But yeah, man. So it's been good week, good show. I can't wait to dive into it. But Cody, we do have some news. You kind of alluded to it a little bit. We're talking about the first 2 parts, it's 2 parts of the final season, which I already thought the final season had started. Cody, break this down for me. I don't know. They're slow rolling it, but I'd rather them slow roll it and do it right.
Yeah. So the final season, which is technically season 4, is already. In 2 parts. There's already 28 episodes to it.
Okay.
And there is now a 3rd part that will be airing. I believe it's supposed to air March 2023. I think is when it begins. The first part of this 2-part 3rd part Which, yeah, that
So season 5 is what we're looking at here.
almost. But they're still calling it season 4, the final season. But they've been saying it's the final season since December of 2020. So
Hey, that don't make no damn sense to me, Cody.
I think they goofed putting the final season on it. I think they should have just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they had to put final season in the intro and all that. Like it doesn't make any sense. But
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know how many of these of the end of this. I don't know how long there's gonna be. Like how many parts we're gonna get. I don't know how many episodes it's gonna be. I know it'll be 2 more parts, but I don't know how the episodes are gonna be divvied up. But Chris, I'm here for the ride.
Me too.
There's 87 episodes total. Let me double check that.
Okay.
I think,
For the final season?
no, in total right now.
Oh, in total. Okay,
So,
I was gonna say. I was like, holy shit, Cody.
Yeah, so
How many people?
maybe they'll do 13 episodes, which would make an even 100. Maybe they'll go past that. But either way, I'm here for it, Chris.
Yeah, dude, I'm definitely in.
But yeah, that was.
I'm excited to get caught up with everybody.
Yeah, and we got plenty of time too. But I mean,
Yeah.
obviously that's been like the running joke of the week as far as like anime news
Mhm.
goes. I've seen like plenty of memes and TikToks and
Mhm.
all of that. But I think they're gonna be bumming when the show comes to an end because then there's not an anime that I look forward to more than this one. So
Mhm.
it's just very high quality and great.
Yeah, it's a good, is what they would refer to it as.
Yeah, and then other than that, as far as the cast goes, there's really not much news related. I mean, we've got new episodes for shows we're looking forward to. We got like another episode of Vinland Saga, I believe.
Yes, which is excellent.
Yeah.
Vinland Saga is most certainly excellent.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get to it yet. Obviously, we got new episodes for Nier as well, and for Dragon Stampede, or Stampede or Rumble? Stampede.
It's Stampede, and I believe Johnny Young Bosch is going to be reprising his role as Vash the Stampede for the English dub.
Yeah, which means I will no longer watch the sub. I can.
Yeah, I'm glad I never started because
yeah, it doesn't even feel the same. Like I don't. Trigun's probably like one of the only shows that I just have no desire to watch the sub. It's already like a new telling of the show. I'm already like iffy on it, and then it's not Johnny Young Bosch talking. I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna put
it's hard to top JYB,
Yeah, I mean, that was a fucking Power Ranger, Chris. He can't be stopped.
Goddamn right. That's right.
But yeah, and then outside of anime news, Chris, we kind of touched on it before the cast. If you guys haven't seen it yet, be sure to go check out Last of Us on HBO.
Oh, it's so good. That first episode was just absolutely top shelf.
Yeah. And if you haven't played the game, play the game. But this first episode definitely does the game justice.
Most certainly. They do a great job of cutting out all of the video game fluff while still telling a terrific story.
Yeah. Definitely one of them. I mean, I didn't expect it to be nearly as good as it was, and it was pleasantly surprised. So that'll be the new Sunday routine, Chris.
Absolutely.
House of the Dragon went away, and now here's The Last of Us, and I'm honestly more excited about The Last of Us.
Oh, same here, and it's putting up good numbers. And anybody who was worried about like the casting, it's all great. It's I admit it. All of it took a little bit of getting used to, but everybody just absolutely cranks it out of the park. Like it's great. It is absolutely great. They're all excellent.
Yeah, I'm literally just counting down the days till Sunday, Chris.
Yeah, I got it every Sunday. I'm like, Sunday 9 p.m. That where I'll be. I'll be parked my ass in front of the TV, and my wife's watching it with me, and she knows nothing about the games, so she's like, she hit me with the, "Babe, I know you've played the games, so I'm gonna need you to just shut the fuck up while we're watching this."
It's fine.
And I was like, all right.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen so many like shows and movies that were based on books that I knew nothing about, but somebody I would be like a friend or a relative would know about them, and I'd be like the odd man out. Now I'm like the one that knows. I'm like, you guys got to see this.
You know how the other half lives.
That's right. So when if there ever comes a point of criticism, I'll know what it was like back during like the Harry Potter movie. Like Chris,
Oh
I
man.
remember going to see The Goblet of Fire, and my mom and brother, they fucking hated it. And I was like, that was the best Harry Potter movie. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I was like, that was off the chain. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I didn't read the book. There it is.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to have the shoes on the other foot. Um,
That's so funny.
yeah, I think that's pretty much it as far as news goes. Not a great television, of course. We're talking about AOT this week, so it's just a good week to sit and watch some TV.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And Kody, I don't know about you, but I am ready to dive in and talk all about some AOT. But, Kody, it's brunch time. We've got our eggs. We've got our hash browns. We've got our pancakes. You've got your plate with the hot dog on it. We've got everything except our drinks, Kody. Waiter, barkeep, bartender. You need to get my man here a bevy. So, Kody, what you drinking?
All right, Chris, I can't time this crack because I don't know how this is going to go.
Just let it rip. Just let it rip.
I'm worried about my guitar in the corner, mostly, I think. Holy shnikes. Did you hear that? Hopefully that...
I did.
All right. Nothing
broke.
It
was sharp.
Nothing broke. No
Good.
Champagne was spilt. Let me make sure the fan...
Oh, baby.
We might have a ceiling fan blade that is damaged, but that's okay, Chris.
We might have a bum wing, huh?
Chris, we are doing mimosas, so let me pour this here.
Oh, baby. Yeah, don't waste it. Waste not, want not, sir.
I did not think that was gonna. I've never cracked a bottle of champagne, Chris. So that was a Shonen and Suds first here.
Oh, dude, it's the best. I think that actually is the first time we've done that on the show too. Even with all the New Year's, I don't think we've ever cracked a champagne here on the show. So yeah, dude, you've popped our champagne, much like the cork in that champagne bottle. You've popped our champagne cherry.
Yeah, I was not expecting. Let me give a little splash of OJ in this. I was not expecting
that's all it is.
To go as high as it did. I thought I had a good aim on it, Chris.
Dog, you could hurt somebody with one of those. Like if you aim it at somebody, you could put somebody's eye out.
Yeah, the ceiling fan took the brunt of that, but
bless its heart.
Chris, I am drinking a nice mimosa here. So I didn't know how to what the brands were for mimosas, so I kind of just Googled some stuff before I left this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So champagne-wise, we have Korbel California Champagne Brut.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nice little Brut.
Yeah. This seemed like the best bang for your buck as far as the web.
Yes.
As far as I had the top 10 champagnes for mimosas pulled up. So the orange juice, unfortunately, we did have to go with Tropicana.
That's all right.
I heard Florida's Natural was the play. As far as
Florida Natural or Simply are definitely the ways to go.
Yeah, well, I went to two different orange juice lists for the same on the same websites, and both of them had your Trader Joe's, your Fresh Time, and I was like, no, I'm going to Walmart. This is America. But Florida's Natural Pulp Free was completely sold out. And I was like,
it must have been Mimosa Day. Everyone else had the same idea this morning, it sounds like.
And then I saw what looked like the Great Value Florida's Natural, and I was like, oh, Pulp Free gone. And I was like, I feel like you need Pulp Free orange juice for a mimosa.
You most certainly do. Okay. Unless you're putting other things in it. Like some people will put fresh fruit, things yeah, exactly. Pulp there is fine, but ideally you want pulp free because you're ultimately just putting a splash in there.
Right. And so it was a toss up between Tropicana and Simply. I figured Simply would be a little too sugary, so I went with Tropicana.
Okay.
Either way, I mean, it's fucking orange juice.
You're getting your vitamin C either way.
And yeah, man, I am enjoying a nice mimosa. Yeah, we're having bottomless mimosas here on this Friday morning edition.
Maybe I am jealous, but I'm having a great drink as well. But I was saying, I wish it was the '80s still, so we can get that Donald Duck orange juice in there.
Oh, if only, Chris. If only.
It's all about the Donald Duck. It makes the best mimosa.
But enough about my drink of choice, Chris. What about you? What are you having today?
Well, I am having a breakfast drink myself. I've got a hot, fresh pot of coffee here, Kody. But that's a regular cup of coffee is just boring. So we've got a cup of coffee here with a little bit of Bushmills, a little bit of Protestant whiskey, and a little bit of Bailey. So we're doing a little Irish coffee this morning, Cody. A little hair of the dog, some would call that one.
A little old Greg, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You ever drink Bailey's from a shoe?
Could you love me? Could you learn to love me?
That's right. And if you guys don't understand old Greg, we need you to stop the podcast immediately and go watch all of those videos.
I can see him. I can see his face.
I see him all the time, man. He's firmly living rent-free in our memories.
Absolutely. Some classic internet. But yeah, dude. If I had the foresight to go to the store and get some, some champagne and some more champagne brut. So really, to be a champagne, it's got to come from the Champagne region of France, but it's the same goddamn thing. It's bubbly, goes great with a splash of OJ, and it's going to get you drunk.
Yeah, I was looking at the price tags on the website. I was like, this Corbel, I've seen this bottle. This seems like it was like $12 for 12%. I was like, you got me.
Yeah, that's $1%. Yeah, well, if I'm going ham on mimosas, Cody, I'll buy like the fucking the Barefoot brand. That's like $4.99 for like the big fucking massive bottle. At least it was $4.99 last time I checked. It's been a while. I know we're not living in the best of times when these eggs I cracked for my breakfast sandwich this morning. I mean, I'm gonna have to take out a second mortgage on the place now.
Is it true that eggs are like crazy high right now? Like I haven't.
They are.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't bought an egg in probably months. Like to be honest,
a dozen eggs is probably going to run you like $8.
Really, that's wild.
Yeah, yeah. It's apparently it's because there was an avian flu outbreak, and then there's also that piled on top of like supply chain issues with farmers for like grain and shit like that. It's just the perfect storm of things that are causing prices to go up.
Yeah, I don't follow the news very well, Chris. If it's not on immediately after Jeopardy, it's probably getting skipped.
If I don't get it from Anime News Network, I typically don't follow it.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't see
until I go to the store, or until I'm in the store, and it's like, why is that? Why does that cost that? It did not cost that 2 weeks ago.
I feel like I say that every time I'm at the store. Like.
So I literally bought a dozen eggs right before. Thank God I've got eggs in my house, man. I should probably sell these. People are gonna be sucking dick for eggs pretty soon. Yeah, like it was like the normal like $3 for a dozen. I mean, that's pretty normal for like a jumbo dozen or a large dozen. And now you go back to the store, it's like $8. And like the shelves are kind of bare because it's not just that, like there just aren't eggs. Like my mother-in-law who has she has chickens, they're barely laying eggs right now. It's just that time of year. It's like it's typically off season for chickens to be laying eggs, and when a bunch of them are dead, that's less chickens that are already laying less eggs. So the math checks out.
That's tragic, Chris. I was hoping she was making money hand over fist. I was hoping.
Oh man.
We'll be we'll be praying for the chickens.
That's right.
No brunch is complete without some eggs. So,
no, not at all. I need like a frittata or something. I don't know, some fancy egg dish that there's usually a slice of cantaloupe that goes with it somewhere.
All right, but enough of our breakfast jokes, Chris. We got our drinks out the way. We got our news out the way. It's time to dive into Attack on Titan Season 1.
Yeah, all jokes aside, yeah, we are here. The eggs aren't the only thing that are endangered right now, Cody, and that's the human race we're talking about here in Attack on Titan.
That is right. And now, Chris, well, I guess we'll provide a little bit of backstory here. Shout out to our boy Armin, one of the best characters in the show, of course.
Yes, Armin is great.
He's also working double duty. He's the narrator too. So let's just bring you up to speed here. So, 100 years ago, essentially, these giant titans appeared and started terrorizing humans, and so they were on the brink of extinction. So they hid behind and built these 3 50-meter tall walls. We have Wall Maria, Wall Rose, and Wall Cena. Each wall has, certain sections. It almost looks like a dartboard, kind of like it gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and it's weird how much, but it's a lot of space between each one.
Yeah, there's almost like the mile. I think there's miles and miles in between each one.
Yeah.
But humanity built up these giant walls
Mm-hmm.
to protect themselves from the Titans. These Titans eat humans. And yeah, and then we.
And sometimes they cough them up like hairballs.
yeah, as we'll see.
Yeah.
But we start off. We see a bunch of we meet our main character Aaron. He's waking up from this dream that's almost like he's seeing like some. It almost feels too real. Like he's seeing some crazy scenes, like people getting eaten, things like this, town getting attacked. And this is Aaron Yeager. If you guys have ever been to a movie theater to see an animated movie, usually if the screen ever fades to black, somebody will yell that out. It will just Aaron Yeager. I don't know why, but it happens every single time.
That's funny.
And he lives in the Shiganshina district, which is essentially
that's right there on Wall Maria, right? This is on one of the outside wall.
Yeah, on Wall.
Because from what I understand too, Cody, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but like the further in you live, like this is where like the class system of this world is. Typically, the further you are to the center, the more like well off you are.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where there's some politics going on in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, very much like Aaron and his family are very much like the bottom of the barrel, because not only are they on Walmaria, Chris, they're on like a jut-outed end thing of Walmart. Like
they are on like there might as well just be neon signs saying Titans come here, start here, eat at Joe's, eat here.
Yeah, like
vacancy.
Just giant neon ones, just arrows pointing. Like
that's right.
Because like
ice cold Miller Lite here.
Well, and like not only like Shiganshina is like, so it's like an out. I don't even know what to call it really. It's just like it juts out of Walmaria. It has its own separate little wall around it, very similar to Trost, which ironically are the two places that have the Titan attacks. Like.
Yeah, which is also where most of what we're covering today. We have it's like pretty much the intro episodes, then like the 8-part like attack on Trost.
Yep, which are both. I believe Trost is a jut end of Walrose.
It sure is.
And then Shiganshina is a jutted out part of Walmaria. But Aaron lives there. He's there with his friend Mikasa, who basically is like his sister that like has been raised with him through his childhood. Not his actual sister, but they've been living.
Definitely a sister from another mister, as they would say.
Yeah, and we'll learn more about her in just a moment.
Oh yeah, we get some tragic backstory there.
But Aaron has this dream basically to see the outside world. He wants to join the Scout Regiment. The Scout Regiment is essentially they're like the badasses, Chris. They're the military that's responsible for going outside beyond the walls and killing Titans and trying to
prevent them from actually getting to the front lines, as it were. So they definitely have the most dangerous job. I want to say, Cody, since we're talking about the Scouts, you have there's the different regiments. You have like the Scouts, you have the Guard, and the Scouts have like the wing logo on, which I love the uniforms, by the way. The uniforms are some of probably the most iconic costumes in anime. And what your
so you have
your symbol is.
Yeah, so the Scouts have like the wings of freedom, like you mentioned, and like they
have
like
the Guards have like the roses or something.
Yeah, they're the Garrison Regiment, I believe is what they are.
Garrison, yeah, the Garrison.
And then there's the military police, which basically are just.
They're like the elites.
Yeah, they're
not necessarily because there's elites in each one.
Yeah, the military police are more like the ones that have to guard like the king and like the rich and up and coming, like the They're basically like
they're like the Secret Service kind of,
and they're kind of the ones that don't have to go out beyond the walls. Like you have the Scout Regiment that goes out beyond the walls, the Garrison Regiment inside the walls, and then MPs are like covering that middle part, covering like Wall Cena. Like
covering the king and everything, yeah,
protecting all the people that think they're important, which will soon get interrupted here, Chris, because the Scouts have arrived, and so Aaron and Mikasa they hurried. I think they're out collecting wood for Aaron's mother, Carla.
And the scouts are looking awfully sullen. Like they're because there's also before they meet the scout, before the scouts get back, don't they run into the old drunken one of the captains in the garrison?
Oh, Captain Hannes?
Hannes, yeah, which he's kind of a mainstay for a while.
Yeah, and we quickly learned that the garrison regiment has kind of just been,
Fucking bunch of slack jawed daffodils there behind the wall.
Yeah, just some guys on break for the last 50 years. Cause
just playing pinochle and fucking drinking the hooch. That's my kind of gig. Sign me up, Cody.
Yeah, which you really can't blame them for, Chris. I mean, they've been behind these walls safe for 100 years. Like,
yeah,
this is how it would be if this was our world. Like people would just
like this. They're practically the National Guard, right?
Yeah, we're just chilling. Like we're just hanging out. Now, of course, all of this will soon be interrupted. But yeah, like you said, Chris, when we go down to visit the scouts as they return home, like the mood shifts. Like there are large casualties. Everybody's bandaged up. You see this lady come out asking about her son, and the only thing they have left to give to her, Chris, is a fucking arm.
His fucking arm. But I'd be like, just don't bring anything back.
Yeah, and that's
I don't want that.
Oh, absolutely, and that's actually Keith Chavez, who we'll meet again later. He shaves his head bald after this scene. But we'll meet him later as one of the recruitmen. Yeah, like there's a lot of casualties, but Aaron still wants to join the scouts. Like that's his dream. He wants to go beyond the wall. We also get introduced to our boy Armin, aka narrator Armin Arlett.
Armin the goat.
Yeah, this guy is just getting bullied by some local chumps.
God.
And so Aaron and Mikasa come to the rescue.
I will say though, I hate Armin is like the coolest character, at least in my eyes anyway. But he's got a fucking bowl cut. Like could they have not? He goes from like the Prince Valiant to like a bowl cut. I want to say, doesn't he get a bowl cut like later on in the show, Cody?
He goes through a couple different haircuts, but.
Because he's got like the Prince Valiant right now, fucking Lord Byron in his tower.
Yeah, I don't even know what to call what he has now. That's
the print with like the bangs and like the fucking that's the Prince Valiant, dog.
Yeah, it's a thick mess of blonde hair, but
it's a mess.
Which maybe is why he's the target of these bullies. But Aaron,
oh my god,
Aaron and mostly Mikasa come to the rescue because all the bullies are scared of Mikasa.
Yeah, she's a bad bitch, that's for sure.
And we also get to see some flashback scenes of his dad, who is known as Grisha Jaeger. Yeah,
he's a doctor.
Yeah, he's a doctor. He has this key, which he works in the basement. And Aaron's always been curious to want to go down there. He promises when he's going off to help out some family, blah blah blah. And he promises when he gets back that he's going to show.
I can honestly say. Have you ever watched a movie or a TV show where dad tinkers in the basement and it's always something good? It's never anything good. No. When dad tinkers in a locked basement, any movie or TV show I've ever seen, there's an off-limit basement that dad's tinkering in. There's some bad shit going on down there.
Yeah, I think that's why kids are like scared of basements in the dark, Chris. I think it's
I think so.
I think it's just like books and like the first Goosebumps book, I'm pretty sure is just called "Stay Out of the Basement." Like,
I believe you're right.
I saw that on the library shelf as a kid, and I was good.
Yeah.
I'm good. My room's up here. All my toys are in there.
My Nintendo's there. I'm great.
Yeah, I don't need to go down there. But yeah, he promises to show Aaron what's in the basement when he returns, and he has this key around his neck. And that's gonna put a pin in that right now. Grisha has the key on his neck. Now, Chris, while him and Armin and Mikasa are, just shooting the shit, they get shooken up quite a bit, Chris, like literally physically lifted off the ground when this gigantic 60-meter colossal titan.
The biggest goddamn titan they've ever seen.
Yeah, and this is the one you've seen from like the early promotional images of this.
That looks like a muscle, like it looks like something out of an anatomy book.
Yeah, he's not like the regular titans where he's got skin covering him. He's just all muscle and tissue, and and actually kicks a hole in the Shigansuna district gate.
Yeah, because he's actually tall enough to peek over. Like he like like a neighbor looking over the fence. Just puts his hands on the top of the fence, just kind of peers over.
Yeah, yeah, he is creeping on the citizens of Shiganshina.
He is howdy neighbor.
Yeah, and then he, of course, he hits the full Pat McAfee punt right through the Shiganshina district gate, and
Yeah, he does.
of course, this sends like giant boulders and chunks of the gate just flying because these are huge, like concrete walls. And they're destroying houses and things like that, and then there's all the little small, like 7-meter and 4-meter and 15-meter titans come flowing on through. And obviously, shit has hit the fan.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, the kids are worried. Eren and Mikasa are worried about Eren's mom, who's at the house alone. So they head back to the house. And I can't remember. Armin, I guess, goes back to his family. We briefly see Armin's family. Like
his mama,
or like his dad, or whoever the guy is that's on the boat later. Who ends up just going off and getting himself killed. But that's beyond the point.
It is fucking pandemonium right now. Is what it is.
Yeah, and so Eren and Mikasa head back to the house, only to find Eren's mother Carla has been pinned under the collapsed house. It had been hit by like a chunk of the gate that had flown when the Colossus Titan kicked through it. Chris, the Titans are running around eating people. This is a very graphic anime for anybody that hasn't seen it.
Yeah, dude.
There is blood in almost every episode. Like, blood and gore, people getting eaten, torn apart, limbs falling off. Like, it
is not for children.
Yeah. And then we get the creepiest Titan we've probably seen thus far, and probably for a long time after this, and it's like this... This smiley, it almost looks like a female Titan, which most of them look male. And she hears the screams and all this stuff, and they're trying to get the house off of her. Obviously, they're kids; they can't do anything. She's begging them to leave, run away. My legs are crushed. All this stuff. Thankfully, Hannes shows up, and he's like, he's determined. Chris, he's like, I'm gonna get you guys out of here. Don't worry.
Dude, yeah, Mama's pinned down.
Yeah, till he turns around, Chris, and he sees this creepy-ass smiling Titan. He's like, we're leaving!
Yeah. Yep. And I can't remember, has the armored Titan already bust through the fucking wall yet? Or does that happen when they're all trying to evacuate deeper into the walls?
I think that's when they're evacuating deeper.
That's later on when they're on the boat, yeah, because this motherfucker just fucking... Yeah. He fucking just full steam ahead, just tackles through the wall.
Yeah.
I'm jumping the gun here.
Yeah, he'll come up here in a little bit. But yeah, Hannes basically is like, all right, I'm scared as fuck. I'm getting you kids out of here.
Yeah.
And
Eren's like, what are you doing? Like, that's my mom, and we're watching slowly as this Titan picks up the mile. Kody, this is such a hard scene to watch.
Yeah, an old smiling Titan makes a meal out of Mama Duke's, unfortunately.
Takes a bite out of crime, dude.
I'm just pouring myself another mimosa here for old
dude,
Mama Duke's.
Pour one out for Carla Yeager.
Yeah, unfortunately takes the L here.
Oh, yes.
Our first of many major deaths that we will see as the show goes on.
Oh, yes.
Make sure I don't spill this. Lining this thing up with champagne before we put a splash.
Right, but this is also, I mean, this is the crux of your plot right here, at least initially. This is the fuel that is going to fire Eren's journey.
And I think that's probably like, this is the iconic episode that gets everybody drawn in. I think this might be, not to go too off the course here, but I think this may be the most iconic, like, first episode of anime, like, period.
It is definitely one of them. Yeah, I will 100%. Like, I've never seen anybody watch this first episode and not go, I'm in.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's obviously, there's plenty of great, first episodes, like, what comes to mind that I can think of is, like, I love Death Note's first episode. This, I think, is just on another.
Oh, it's
like, I'm just
so crazy.
Fucking way. I'm in. I am in.
Dude, and they dump now. We said at the top of this, they throw a lot of characters at you, but you don't give a shit because it gives you just a scope of how big this world is and how dire the straits are, especially when these motherfuckers start plowing through the wall.
Yeah, and even before we jump into this next episode, I do want to touch on, like, they really help explain, like, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
understand the world, the intro of almost every episode really explains,
It's
like,
great.
100 years ago, this happened, hid behind the
Mm-hmm.
walls until this exact date. I think it was 8:45 is when they kicked through the wall. Um,
And if you haven't done it before, and this is the first time I've actually ever done it, on the episode break, like the midway point, I urge you to read. Just get yourself some of that lore.
yeah, absolutely, because I mean, there's some vital information, especially later on. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
some vital information that sometimes you wouldn't even know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I've paused mid episode, like, on my first, like, 5 watch throughs, so I don't do that anymore, except for the newer episodes.
You're well versed in the
Yeah,
lore. You
yeah,
are a lore boy.
yeah. I am knee deep, but yeah, the intro and the midway points definitely help flesh out the world and remind you, what's going on. There's always like a little
Yeah.
recap at the beginning, kind of bringing you up to speed, which I appreciate because not a lot of shows do that.
Yeah, and you're gonna need it. You're gonna need it because they throw a lot at you, especially from here on out.
Yeah, and so diving into episode 2, obviously Hannes is super apologetic to Aaron and them. He admits that he was scared to Aaron and Mika's.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Aaron's pissed. He's punching him in the back of the head and all this stuff. But eventually, him and all of the townsfolk escape to the inner wall of Walmaria. The
Yeah,
soldiers are.
and it's funny when you think about it, Cody. Like if you pull back from where they're at, they're just now out of that giant jutting piece, and now they're like actually behind the first wall, effectively.
Yeah. They've only left Shiganshina. Like
Yeah.
they're a long way from like the king, for example. And you see like
Oh, they're a long way from the king.
the soldiers and the civilians just stand no chance against these titans. So they're
Mhm.
like, we got to close the gate. And Chris, as they're closing the gate, we have
Oh my god.
another special titan shows up, the armored titan. And this guy's basically just a titan that's covered in armor. Like, it's very like the name
This
explains it.
motherfucker brought some bus fare because he just plows through the fucking wall, dude.
Yeah, he hits the 40-yard dash straight through the fucking wall. But thankfully, after he runs through the wall, he like kind of he kind of like just fucks off. Like, same with the colossal titan.
Yeah.
He kicked the hole in the Shiganshina wall, and then he's like, he just went away. Like, we don't
Oh,
know.
because this part was intense though, man. Because like they see him,
Yeah.
and he like fucking locks and they're like firing the cannons at him, and he's just coming, Cody. Oh Lord, he coming.
Yeah, Adrian Peterson just out here breaking tackles, like
Oh my
he's
god.
getting the first down, Chris.
Goddamn right he is.
But yeah, so now Walmaria has been breached, which is a main wall. Now it's like okay, this is a big fucking deal now. This isn't just a
Yeah,
little
shit's little.
This isn't just a little jut off. This is the real wall. And so now they got to retreat behind Wall Rose. Like, everybody's scrambling. There's like, there's what are they? Ferries, I guess is what they're technically called. Like boats.
Yeah, they're like these little ferries that it's almost like a mix between like a boat and a cable car. Because I mean, yes, it is a boat. It's in the water, but it's like on this pulley system, I guess, to get it out of port quickly because they need to get this show on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine normally they use these as just like a form of transportation because you can't do like trains or anything like that. But they are awfully slow for what's
God.
happening here. And obviously, like it's like the safety boats on the Titanic, Chris. They are filling up fast, and everybody else is getting left fucking behind.
Dude, and everyone's like, please take the children. And it's just like, oh my God, these people are so fucked.
Yeah, fortunately for our gang here, Armin makes it out with, I believe, his grandfather, I think, or his father.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he dies very soon. And Aaron and Mikasa make it, and they retreat behind Wall Rose. And then, Chris, we have our first of many time skips throughout this part. We have a couple of different small time skips, but some time has passed, and we see Aaron.
We're like a couple years. Like this is a couple years at this point now, right?
I
or is it like this might be a year
I was just talking
or
about
6 months?
yeah, it's something I don't
Because he hasn't done the train. He's not a scout. He's not a recruit yet.
yeah, we're not training yet. We skip forward a little bit and we see Aaron having another strange dream. This one is a little bit more like we get to see a little bit more. We
Yeah.
see his dad prepping some injection for him,
Oh, that's right. That's
saying
right.
that he's gonna, it'll all make sense soon. Just, hold on to this key. And when Aaron wakes up, he gets woken up by Mikasa. He's like, "You're having a bad
Hmm.
dream," and we see Aaron is now wearing the key.
Yeah, he's got the key around his neck.
It's like, how did that get there? Maybe these dreams are
Like,
real. What's going on here, Chris?
I am not drunk enough to figure that one out.
Pour yourself another coffee, Chris, because
I need a hot cup of.
yeah. But we also see that like now the food shortage is starting to take effect. People like
Yeah.
there's not enough people now. Like we've retreated behind our first layer of major like our first wall, and so more people,
Hmm.
smaller space, less food. We see the
The,
effect.
the economics are starting to rear their ugly head here. Like we are not in a good place, Cody.
Yeah, and so the government basically is like, look, you either work for food on farms or you fight to reclaim Maria.
Yep.
They send out pretty much every willing body that'll go. And
Hmm.
250,000 people, Chris, 20% of the world of the remaining human race, as far as we know, choose to fight and die.
Yeah, they're dust. They are fucking Titan Chow, dude.
Yeah, and they kind of brush over this, like they don't we don't get to see. We just know that they're everyone who was sent out dead, for the
Yeah.
most part, including like Armin's family, like his grandpa or his dad or
Hmm.
whoever that guy was. And so Aaron
Hmm.
obviously he vows for revenge, and then he plans to join the recruits. And Mikasa and Armin, Mikasa's like, look, I'm with you till the end. I don't care. Wherever you guys go, I'm going. And
That's
Armin's
right.
like,
I'm here, brother.
Armin's like, well, they just killed all my family, so might as well.
Yeah.
And we enter training, Chris. In episode 3, training begins. We run back into old Keith Chavez, the guy who handed over the arm to that old lady at the very beginning,
Yeah.
and he is now the drill instructor for the new recruits of the
Dude, I
104th.
fucking love this guy.
Yeah, Keith he definitely grows on you. He is.
Yeah, he's a fun character.
Yeah, he's the drill instructor. We get to meet a lot
He's
of
doing everything. No, go
well,
ahead.
yeah, we just meet a lot of new characters here. We meet Sasha, who is obviously a very big fan favorite character, who's the potato
Yep.
eating girl. For those that don't know,
That's right. That's right.
she just
Oh fuck, man. She eats everything, man. She isn't she the one? She's like always stealing food and shit.
yep. I think it's just iconic of her with the potato. I believe
Yep.
I don't have the Funko Pop up on display right now, but I believe she actually
Oh, you
has.
got with the boiled potato?
Yeah, I believe she does have the potato in the one Funko Pop.
Hell yeah.
And even like I mean even like T-shirts you'll see with her having the potato, and just on and on and on. And then we also get to meet Jean or Jean, whatever.
Yep.
They kind of call them both names at different points in the show.
Yeah, it depends on where. I guess it depends on what wall you're from, but I like him. He's him and Connie are some of my favorite characters.
Yeah, Connie's my boy. Connie's probably my
Yeah.
favorite like offshoot kind of side-ish character outside
Yeah,
of our main
Connie's
trio.
that boy. Mm.
But Jean kind of develops a rivalry with Aaron. In the
Yep.
mess hall, they're always talking shit to each other, all this stuff.
Always talking that mess in the mess hall.
Yeah. And Jean's desire is to become part of the military police.
Mm-hmm.
You're inside the inner walls. You're probably never going to see any real action.
It's that pussy desk job.
Yeah, that's what he wants. And then we meet our boy Connie as well. Connie's there. We also meet. Let's see. I guess this is when they kind of explain the omnidirectional mobility gear, otherwise known as ODM gear, which we'll probably use
Yep.
that acronym from here on out. And this is basically like your Spider-Man part of this show, Chris. It's like these wires that shoot out with grappling hooks, and they got blades that they can pull out and use as swords.
And the triggers on the blades, like control. It's such a this is probably one of the most well thought out. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this not only are like the uniforms cool, but their kit is very very cool as well. And I don't know, man. Like, there's just something about it. Like, you get this very Spider-Man feeling. There's this there's this sense of like, this is what separates the chaff from the wheat, right? Like, the good soldiers know how to fucking make this thing sing. Like I want to say Gene, like right off the bat, is like one of the best ones with it, and it takes our boy Aaron quite a bit to learn how to use this. Though, to be fair, his gear was busted.
Yeah, and we'll touch on that. They also, I don't know if it's in this episode, but I'm just going to go ahead and explain it now. But
Yeah.
humanity has learned that to kill a Titan, you have to slice the back, like the nape of their neck on the back.
Yep.
And so that's why they've developed this ODM gear to get them to the heights that they couldn't get to, obviously standing on the ground. No guns or, cannons work, but only if they destroy the same part. It's like, you got to shoot a zombie
they
in
regenerate.
the head. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if you don't slice the back of the nape by like so many meters in and all this stuff, they're just gonna regenerate. You cut off a finger, you stab them in the eye, like, doesn't matter. That's growing back. And like you said, Jean is like the first one to catch on. Mikasa's obviously like, she's the badass of the show, so she's always just gonna be like first in the class. But Aaron, like you said, Chris, his gear is busted. We find out later. He's having trouble balancing, and how they balance is they kind of lift you up on these like pulleys, and Aaron's just keeps flipping upside down, like he is struggling, which kind of,
he's worried he's gonna wash out.
Yeah, and it kind of fuels the rivalry with him and Gene. Gene's always talking shit on him.
Yeah, because that's the thing too. If you wash out, like, you're going back to the fields, dog.
Yeah, and then he kind of, he's having trouble, and he asks some of the other recruits, Chris, and this is where we meet Reiner, Braun, and Bertolt.
Yeah.
Reiner and Bertolt are kind of like, they're always together. And
I like Reiner.
They're also the only other ones that were like, I believe they're some of the few, I guess there technically are more that we'll find out later, who have personally encountered Titans, and they tell us about like this, I think they're from like a mountain village or some village that they're from, the Titans that appeared that day. And so they basically, like, they all go out and kind of like give Aaron their advice, all this stuff. The next day, Chris, sure enough, Aaron falls upside down again, and then Keith takes a look at it. Keith shot as the drill instructor, and he turns out it's been defective this entire time. So this whole time he's been learning. It's like the equipment was busted. Gives him the new equipment, makes it works like a charm. He's got it down.
Yep, and people are like, "Oh wow, he was able to do that with broken gear."
Yeah, and then going right into episode 4, this is where we get our 5-year time skip.
Yes,
this is 5 years
yes.
since the fall of Walmaria and Giganshina. And like we kind of get our this is where Chavez kind of goes over like all the recruits, so we kind of get names to faces and like who's ranked where and like the top 10, all this stuff. Like it's a very helpful like recap to kind of introduce you to everybody, including Annie Lionheart, who, when the students are training hand-to-hand combat, we learn that she is the queen of hand-to-hand combat, Chris. She beats up Aaron, she beats up Reiner. She is, when it comes to fisticuffs, she's got you beat. And Aaron kind of questions why.
I love the sparring scenes.
Yeah, and Aaron kind of questions why they're even training for this. He's like, why would we have to fight other people? We're supposed to be fighting these Titans. But I think it's just general training as far as that goes. But then later that night, like we're in the mess hall, and Aaron's kind of learning the Gene, and a lot of the top recruits are wanting to join the MPs, and he's like, yeah, fuck that, I want to be a scout. And then we come to graduation day, and Aaron and Mikasa both rank in the top 10. I think most of our named
all
characters,
of the homies are in all of our main characters are the top of the class.
Yeah, and so everybody's eligible to join the MPs if they want to. Aaron, of course, declines and says he's joining the scout regiment, the front lines, all that stuff. Armin and Mikasa are going to go where Aaron goes. Because I think Mikasa actually promised to Aaron's family that he'd always kind of look out for him.
Yep, that's because that was like one of pretty much his mom's dying words to her when they were trying to pull her out of the rubble or whatever.
Yeah, and I think they flash back to a scene with Mikasa and her where like she says like
Mm-hmm.
just watch over him, all this stuff. Um,
Yep.
and that kind of encourages a lot of some of the other kids to join him too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Aaron, like he has a way of persuading people into not in like a negative way, but like he encourages them almost. And
Mm-hmm.
they get assigned to Trost District, which is another city that's kind of one of those jut out cities on the outer edge of
Of this is Wall Rose, I believe, is where we're at now, right?
yeah, which is the second wall. Yep, the middle
Yep.
wall, I guess.
And
Chris,
shit gets they aren't even here for like fucking 5 minutes. Because I want to say what happens here too is Aaron gets assigned to like a certain spot, and Mikasa, I was going for Mikasa and no, Armin and Aaron are in the same location, but Mikasa gets sent somewhere else in the city, like a different post in the city.
yeah, they're all in Trost, but yeah, like
Yeah,
Aaron's up on top, like helping, like
with the
they're
cannons.
setting up the cannons and all this stuff, just in case. And then Chris, he's like,
Oh my
and he
god.
gives this big inspirational speech, like, "We're ready to fight back. We're gonna kill all." And then Colossal Titan just like,
Just out of
"Yo."
fucking nowhere. Just RKO out of nowhere, dude.
Yeah, and fucking kicks a hole in another wall, and it's like, oh
Which I
shit.
remember the first time I watched is I was like, Cody, how did they not see that coming? Like, I was like, he must have literally popped out of the ground because there's no way you don't see that fucker just coming up the road.
He was crouched down. You couldn't see him under the wall. He just,
That's right.
hey.
He was fucking he was just commando for like solid snaking across the grass.
Yeah, he was hiding under the ring, Chris. He had
He's
no idea.
he's
Went to grab
he's just walking with a tree. He's got like a tree and he's like hiding behind it and stops whenever they look.
Yeah,
Does the
exactly.
tree look close to you?
It's like the meme of the dude hiding behind the tree, like peeking out. Like that's the colossal titan in this world. Chris, he shows up and starts wreaking havoc. He's destroying the cannons. And this kind of goes into the next episode, and this begins our the struggle for Trost part series, which is
One of like eight.
yeah, which will take us to the end of where we're covering today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aaron tries to, start a counterattack. He tries to go for the nape of the neck, but the Colossal Titan has this ability to like release this hot steam, so Aaron can't
Mm-hmm.
reach the weak point. And everybody's scrambling for like a counterattack and all this stuff, Chris, and then the Colossal Titan just vanishes. Like the steam goes away, and
Mm-hmm.
he's gone. But
Hey, how the fuck do you lose something that big?
he's hiding behind the tree again.
God damn it!
But he has, of course, kicked a hole in the wall. So
Yep.
now all the little baby titans are coming through.
Dude, and what's really hard here, Cody, is these the people that Aaron is with here on top of the wall, like we kind of get to meet them a little bit. Cody, doesn't fucking matter because they're all dead.
Yeah, for the most part, if they're not one of our named party members here, if you're not,
Because I think the only ones there, like the only ones that live, I think honestly at this point, and not to, we're jumping the gun, or at least I'm jumping the gun a little bit. The only person who lives from this area is fucking Armin.
yeah, I mean,
Though technically Aaron lives, but
yeah. We'll touch on that in a minute here too.
Yeah.
But then we kind of get to see where Mika's is at.
Mm-hmm. And this
And
place is huge, by the way. Like it's so because you see like the smoke and shit, like the hole in the wall, way off in the distance. I'm like, this seems a lot smaller from an aerial view.
yeah, when you see the Titans there, it's like, yeah, I guess it does. It's like as far. I mean, it is technically as far as Shiganshina was from Walrose,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mikasa is under the commands of Warman, Kits Warman, who is a member
Mm-hmm.
of the Garrison Regiment. She's basically assigned with evacuation. And so, Aaron and Armin are basically out on the front line. Titans are in the city,
Mm-hmm.
wreaking havoc, killing people, the whole, doing the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a rough day.
Yeah, and I mean, their comrades are, like you said, Chris, they're getting eaten just one by one. Um, And I
They're
can't
getting
remember.
eaten or they're getting smashed.
And I can't remember. Is this the episode where we get the Mikasa flashback? I think this is the episode.
Uh,
Could
I
be
don't know if
wrong.
it's here or if it's. I think it doesn't happen until Armin gets back and just like they're all dead.
Oh yeah. Okay, my
Because
bad.
then Mikasa is like, oh, they're fucking dead. Like she hulks out and she's ready to kill.
You're right. I'm jumping the gun a little bit there. But eventually, Chris, even Aaron, like his leg, I think it's his leg that gets snapped off, like as they're like
Yeah.
flying
Oh
through the city
man.
with their ODM gear. His leg gets chomped off by a Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I got the
And I
fuck.
remember the first time I saw that I was like, Cody, did they pull the switcheroo on us? Are they just gonna kill this guy like right off the bat?
Yeah, Chris, and I mean his leg gets chomped off, and then you know, I think is it Armin's like, hey, he's trying to distract the Titan and all this stuff, but Armin's
Mm-hmm.
so fucking scared, and so like the Titan just grabs Armin and just fucking straight down the gullet.
Dude, I was like, is this show about Mikasa? Like, is she the main character?
They sure make it seem that way. That's for.
Oh my god,
But then
dude,
fucking Aaron
that
like
poor boy.
Aaron flies over and pulls Armin out just in time, and he's like, he's saying all this stuff because Armin's always talking about these books that his parents used to look at about like the discovering the ocean and these sand dunes and the outside world and all this stuff. And Aaron's like, we're gonna reach the ocean, and then Chris Titan chomps down and his arm goes flying out at him. It's like,
I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Armin, Aaron's dead. Like, he's dead. He's been chomped
Yeah,
up and eaten.
so he's dead.
Yeah, like, and Armin's, and like that's how the episode ends. I'm pretty sure it's like,
Mm-hmm.
like, holy shit, our main character has just been eaten by a Titan.
Yeah, and I want to say at this point we're in like what episode 5, 6, or 7. Like we're right in like the heart of this.
Yeah, we just met him. We're just getting to know his family and his friends, and chomp.
We missed 7 years of his life because of time skips.
Yeah, and now Armin's kind of been, kind of snapped out of his funk that he's in because obviously he's freaking the fuck out.
Oh my god, dude! And I want to say at this point he's hauling ass back into the city.
Yeah, and he gets woken up by like Connie. We meet Krista and Ymir, who are another kind of like,
yes,
they're kind of always by each other's side, and we're heading back to the rear guard. He's Chris' shock is taking over. He's blaming himself. He's sad.
He's delirious at this point, and this is the episode. We're in episode 6, I believe now. Yeah, this is where Mikasa has the flashback. Which this poor thing.
Oh yeah, but before we get to before that, Chris, we have the abnormal Titan that's like kind of ravaging through the city, heading towards this gate, and there's this rich fuck with this wagon of goods.
This fucker.
And Mikasa kills the Titan right before like all these people. And then just fucking walks up to him like, you need to move this fucking cart now. Like, he's like, oh, do you know who I am? I will tell. She's like, you won't be able to tell whoever you want to tell. Like, you will be dead in a matter of.
Tell your story walking is what you need to do.
Yeah. Which obviously, like, the citizens are very happy with Mikasa because he essentially saves their lives as Titans are closing in on the city. And then we get a flashback, Chris. The year 844.
It's a good year.
Yeah, good year. Before shit hit the fan.
Right.
But Mikasa, basically, she lived with her own parents. And they basically got attacked by these 3 criminal guys that were looking for, like, I believe, because I think in this world, Mikasa and her family were technically, like, foreigners, or they were of, like, some other descent. And that's why these criminals were after them to sell the mom, like Mikasa's mom and Mikasa to, whatever, almost knocked my cup of mimosa over.
Oh no.
Can't have that. But they were going to sell them to like, whatever black market criminal organization.
Yeah, basically it's just slaves. Basically slave traders is what these people were.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we get to see the full scene after this episode's over, but basically they open the, like, Pops answers the door thinking this is going to be Grisha Yeager, Aaron's father.
They had met already before, I think, at this point, right?
Yeah, they had met a couple times. Like, they were like, obviously Grisha being like the town doctor in Shiganshina.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were expecting the doctor to be at the door, and so Mikasa's dad goes to open the door, and this criminal just immediately just stabs him.
Catches a knife right in the gut for his troubles.
Yeah, and then of course they attack the mom. Mom tells Mikasa to run. Mom gets taken out. And so when Grisha and Aaron show up, like, there's just bodies. Mm-hmm. Mikasa's gone.
Yep.
And like, Grisha's like, Aaron, you wait outside. I gotta figure this out. Now, obviously, he's checking on the mom and pops. They're both shocked.
They are shocked.
They are absolutely shocked, Chris. And then, with Grisha not knowing, Aaron, he basically followed the slave, or the slave traders is what they are. Followed them back to their nearby, like, little hideout. And Chris, he goes in there and fucking kills the first two of them. And saves Mikasa, and she's like, wait, there was another one. And then the third guy pops out of the shadows, attacks Aaron, he's strangling him. And then, you know, with the encouragement, you know, Aaron's like a kid at this point. He's still like speaking out, you know, these encouraging words to Mikasa. And she kills the third guy, and so, you know, Mikasa and Aaron have, since then, they've basically been raised together.
And they have been inseparable since then.
Yeah, Grisha invited Mikasa to come live with them, and then they've basically been like a family since then. Mikasa has a very dark, tragic past. And I think she uses that as fuel to the fire, because Chris, she's the only one out there that's actually like killing Titans consistently, as far as the new group of recruits is concerned.
And I want to say too that she even says when they're getting ready to mobilize and go, she's like, "Y'all suck. Y'all are just in my way. Like, what are you gonna do about it?"
Especially when she finds out about Aaron, she's like, "You guys suck. All right, I'm the big dog." Obviously, her emotions have taken.
She's the head of the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking acknowledge her, dude.
But yeah, and then going into episode 7, a lot of our squads, you know, Aaron's been chomped up. Armin, and Connie, and Jean, and all them, they're gas on their ODM gear, so the ODM gears do run on gas. They're running low. And the supply depot, we see it's like been overrun by Titans. Not only that, but the supply depot, everybody there is a bunch of pussies. Turns out.
Oh, we're in trouble. they're all like hiding and shit.
They are. And you know, eventually everybody gets reunited. And Mikasa meets up with Armin, and Armin is clearly shook, and he's like, "How am I supposed to tell Mikasa what happened to Aaron?" And he basically has to spill the beans. And obviously Mikasa is like, this is when she gives her head of the table speech, like, "Look, I'm the shit. We're doing this. We got to reclaim the supply depot." But on the way there, Chris, Armin notices that Mikasa is using too much gas. He ends up running out and falls, plummets down into this alleyway. A Titan's approaching.
Oh man!
It's like there's no fucking way.
And she's kind of like on her knees, just kind of begging for the sweet release of death at this point. Just like, well, here we go.
Yeah, this
is it.
You can tell she's kind of like, I mean, losing Aaron has been a detrimental blow to her.
Yeah.
And, you know, this Titan's about to fucking swoop in and kind of end
My
it.
God!
But then, Chris, this other Titan shows up and fucking just beats the shit out of the regular Titan.
Just smashes his head clean through his ass.
This Titan clearly looks different. He's like the fucking jacked and juicy Titan. He's the fucking Scott Steiner of the Titans. That's
right. He is Big Papa Pump.
You know, the rest of the Titans are just a bunch of doofuses. But this guy, I mean, even like the teeth, like his jaw looks different. Like everything about him is different. And kills this other Titan. It's like, wait, what's this? What's going on here? Not only do we have this scene happening, we also have Jean kind of taking over the remaining squad. But Jean, I mean, even like seeing all of his comrades and everybody getting eaten,
he's shook, dude, and that's what I absolutely love about this show, Cody. Like as the bodies start to drop, like you see how like this, like, you just watch the PTSD just start to seep into these kids. Like these are kids, for God's sake, and like they're never the same. Like you start to see that throughout every episode, man. Like these kids just are not the same, and I don't know. There's just that really neat quality about how just real these events are to, I'm trying to think of the right way to word that. Like there's a very like grounded quality to it, right? Like these kids are suffering from this PTSD. They are shook at watching the people they were literally just talking to 5 minutes ago just be fucking street pizza.
Yeah, and I mean, even when you think about it, like they've been training for the last 5 years,
Yeah.
for this moment, and like some of their friends are just getting eaten in front of them, like one after another, and it's a lot.
And then sometimes that 5 year and like that 5 years of training doesn't mean shit the second you just get fucking splatted by a Titan.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like Mike Tyson says, man. Everybody's got a plan until they get hit.
Exactly. But Chris, now they got a Titan on their side. This Titan is fighting the other Titans, and he's ignoring them. It's like, all right, so like they got a minute to compose themselves a little bit. Armin's like, all right, Mikasa, I'm gonna give you my gas tanks and blades so that you can help at the supply depot because you're way better than I am. And Armin's like, leave me this blade. If it comes down to it, I'd rather, basically saying he'd rather take his own life than be eaten by...
Than have a Titan eat him.
Right.
She fucking throws it off the roof. She's like, nope.
Nope, you're coming with me. Mikasa's got like a newfound... she's encouraged by this Titan fighting the other Titans.
Yeah.
And so
she's like, I said y'all suck, and you still suck, but you're coming with me.
Yeah, you're still one of like her best friends, obviously. She actually mentioned, she's like, I think at this point is when she mentions like, or maybe no, it's probably later. But she eventually at some point during this episodes, she mentions that like you saved her, Eren and me once, so I'm not gonna let you, go out like that. And so
yep.
They break into the supply depot. We see like a bunch of the supply depot workers are hiding and scared, and John is not having it. He is fucking pissed. He's like, we've been waiting on you, and he's swinging on some random dork. It doesn't matter. He's gonna get eaten too.
Some random jabronis.
Yeah, but Armin, Mikasa, and Connie show up, and they're like, we need these supplies. Blah blah blah. There's a Titan out there that's helping us. Obviously, a lot of the kids are like, yeah, bullshit. Until fucking Eren's, Chris, he's punching the heads of Titans, and they're flying and hitting the supply depot, and they're like,
right.
We rest our case. Like, this is happening. We got to get to the fuel storage area. But Chris, there's 4-meter Titans down there, and so this is where we get to see kind of Armin's first, like, I guess, tactical plan, because Armin, as the show goes on, we get to see he's the brains of the group, really.
Which I really, really like. I like watching his strategies unfold.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the first point. Obviously he's emotional about losing his friend, but there's more to fight for out there, and so there's 7 Titans down there, and there's like they have like an elevator lift kind of thing, and they have guns. They have like muskets, really. And they're like, all right, we can shoot them in the eyes, and then the 7 best of our comrades here, which is like most of the named characters. So you got, Jean, Bertolt, Sasha, Connie, Reiner. Can I get all these?
Oh, can you? Can you? Oh.
And Mikasa. Yeah, that's all of them, I believe. Mikasa.
Yeah, they're basically going to swoop down from the top to get the neck of all the surrounding Titans.
And you 7 named characters are going to go kill these Titans while we shoot guns in their eyes. All right.
Yes, and basically the whole idea is they're like, we can't miss. We've got to get them all at the same time, or we're fucked.
Yep. And so 5 of them are successful. Unfortunately for Connie and Sasha,
they fucking brick.
They fuck up, but then we have the bad bitches, Mikasa and Annie, show up and just fucking annihilate these Titans. Luckily, these are 4-meter Titans. If they would have been any taller, we would have been in some deep shit here.
And I feel bad for Sasha here because she has a moment. She kind of crumbles here.
Yeah, and she kind of takes it, and I guess we kind of we didn't really touch on it during their training, but like Sasha's kind of like our. There's a lot of comedic relief with Sasha, and so like this is probably the first moment where we see like her stricken with like the fear and like happy that Mikasa saved her and all this stuff. Cause like she's kind of been like our fun, oh, she stole some food, so she's got to run laps all night, or like this is the first time you get to see like the terror really take over her as well.
Yeah.
Or Sasha and Connie. They're just some good kids out here in a shitty world.
They are. You hate to see it.
Thankfully for Mikasa and Annie, they save them. The fuel, everybody's fuel gets replenished, all this stuff. And
it was a photo finish, Kody.
Yeah, and they're kind of watching this Titan outside, just eating the shit out of all these other Titans. And then, Chris, you kind of see that he's kind of running out of steam. Like the smaller Titans are starting to like almost.
He's getting swarmed up.
Yeah, he's getting swarmed on, and collapses. I think his arms are. He isn't regenerating like he was before.
Oh yeah.
But then Chris, he falls to the ground, and what do we see come out of the back of his neck, Chris? That looks like Eren.
It sure
does.
Eren's
music? By God!
By God! It's Eren's music.
And so Mikasa, she immediately as she sees anybody that looks like Eren, she's diving after them.
Oh yeah.
And kind of like holds him up, and like she hears his heartbeat, Chris. Title of the episode.
He's alive.
Struggle of Trost part whatever. I hear his heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, but he's got a leg and he's got an arm. What's going on here? What?
He's fine.
I don't understand. And it kind of brings us right into episode 9, which is titled "Whereabouts of His Left Arm." Like, where's his arm at? It's here.
Episode 9. Who dat? Who there?
Yeah. And so, this is also the episode where we meet Captain Levi for the first time. Probably the most fan favorite character from the show. Levi.
Yeah, he's definitely your like, I don't know, your silent, brooding, badass type character.
Yeah, and we'll get to know him quite a bit as the show progresses, but he's the shit. Like, when it comes to Captain Levi, like, dude's the shit. Like, and I think we've seen him briefly before this. We met him and Hanji as they were like entering the town at one point, like maybe after the time skip.
Yep, and they were coming back from a mission, a scout mission.
Yeah, and obviously him and his squad are showing up to Trost District. We get to meet, I can't remember the redheaded girl's name. I want to say it starts with a P, but I could be just butchering that. But she ends up becoming a little bit more of a character as we go on. But Levi and his squad show up, and Chris, they're wrecking some shit, honestly. And they're showing up obviously at Trost, and then we kind of get to see like what happened with Eren. So Eren was obviously eaten and swallowed by this like bearded Titan guy. And then we see that he woke up in like the stomach of this Titan, very similar to like how Ed and them woke up inside of Gluttony. Like there's just blood and like
exactly
dead shit everywhere, and like basically like he's getting all pissed off, like, I'm gonna kill all of you, and then like with all this rage, we see like we flash out to the outside and we see like an arm come through the Titan's mouth, and then Eren has become this Titan, and turns out he's
a little Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation here.
And he's been the one that's been beating ass and taking names. And it's kind of like nobody can believe what's happening, including me. Like the first time I saw this, I was like, "What is going on?" Like,
yeah, say for what it's worth, I can't believe he was beating ass like that.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, so our main character isn't dead. All right, we did it." Now. So like all of his friends and comrades and all that stuff, they're like, all right, we got to keep this kind of on the down low, because if the higher ups find out about this, like
he's dead.
They're like, I don't even know how we're gonna explain this. Chris, General or Kitz, it's Vorman Kitz, I believe is his name.
Boy, he's ready to throw him in front of the firing squad, sir.
Basically, when Eren comes to, they're in front of the firing squad. It's him, Armin, and Mikasa,
Exactly.
and he has no idea what's going on. He's like, what the fuck? Like, his memories are chalked. He's like, what? Why am I here? Why are they shooting at me? And Kits is like, you were a Titan, blah blah blah. You know, he's given, very. It's kind of rational. It's like after what they just saw, they're like, he's probably like a spy for the Titans, or something crazy. They're assuming the worst. But in reality, Eren was the one that was saving them. And he sees these memories of like his dad giving him this injection and giving him key, and he's like, you have to reclaim Walmaria. That's like one of the things his dad said to him in these dream sequences that he's kind of going through. And Mikasa and Armin, despite their best efforts, like, they're gonna shoot these cannons. And so Eren, like, through some power of his own, he partially like transforms Chris. And this is actually
so like a torso, like a skeleton type of situation.
It's like the top half of a Titan, basically. And it's like, it's not like his full Titan form that he was just in. It's like a half-assed version, but it protects him and his friends from being shot by these cannons. So.
And it almost has it almost looks like half a colossal Titan, just because like the face is like skeleton and like muscle, and then it's just like a rib cage.
Yeah, it's kind of a frightening sight, honestly. And if anybody, I think if anybody's seen the live action movie, I believe this is where the live action movie ends. The first one.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is where it ended. I only saw it once. Obviously, it was
same.
Exactly. Chris, we'll be able to revisit that.
Can I say I can definitely wait? I can totally wait on that.
That's just too damn bad. Yeah, we'll have to check those out eventually too. That way we can suffer through some. We can't just have nothing but hits, Chris. We gotta have some duds.
Yeah, we gotta have some veggies, I guess.
That's right. But like then Eren, he climbs out of this partially transformed Titan, and he's telling Mikasa and Armin, there's steaming everywhere. Around them, so they're kind of covered up, and he's like, look, we got to get back to the basement in Shiganshina. My dad, I think that might be where we need, this could be the secret to destroying the Titans, all this stuff. He starts to remember a little bit more of what his dad was telling him and all this stuff. Meanwhile, on the outside, Kits is like, reloading. Load up the cannons, guys. We're firing again. So Eren and
reloading.
And then Eren's like trying to think of a plan. Like, how are we gonna get out of here? He's like, and basically it's like, I can run away and I'll be a criminal, or Armin can convince him because Armin's a genius. And this is where we kind of like, I think this is where they bring up the fact that Armin had saved these two once before.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically like Armin, using his wits and all this stuff. He's trying to like convince Kits. Chris, this no avail, man. Like, it's just not happening. Even with Armin,
trying everything.
Armin does the fucking soldier salute, like the AOT fucking salute that you see all the weebs do it at your local Hot Topic. And Kits is like, yeah, fuck that. We're firing again. And I should mention,
you want to move out of the way, or we're going to shoot you too.
I think it's at the beginning of this episode we meet Pixis, and I didn't touch on that. Pixis is like a head commander, or I believe he's just a commander, but he technically is. But
he's the one in charge of like basically the entire southern front. He is like the high commander of the south, basically.
And we see him like playing chess with the king and all this stuff, and they get interrupted when one of his men comes in and is like, look, Trosh just got attacked. And you see that Pixis has just been toying with the king, like he could have beaten him in chess anytime he wanted to. Like, he's just been Pixis is honestly the GOAT at this point, in my opinion. But thankfully he shows up just in time before they fire these cannons. He's like, don't you think we should at least hear them out? And tells Kits kind of just to fuck off, like, hey,
pretty much.
Go ahead and take a seat. And
get the showers, bub.
And this is where Pixis kind of talks with Eren. He's like, well, like, what's going on? Like, what are you, like, he's like, what if, he's like, I think we can use you can transform into your Titan, we can plug the hole in Wall Rose with that stone, prevent the Titans
or we could just fucking kill you right here.
Yeah. And Eren's like, I think I can do it. I think I can lift that stone and plug the hole.
Well, given the options, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. And then, Chris, we come up with the plan to retake Trost.
Yeah, we do.
Which is pretty much basically these 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
With the help of Armin, again, him and Pixis and a few others, they start to get this plan together. Have this team will protect Eren, this team will distract the Titans, get them all into one corner so they're out of Eren's way, because obviously the Titans are against Eren when he's in this Titan form. And then Eren, meanwhile, will be lifting up this boulder, plug the hole, get the crown, save the town.
You know the drill.
Yeah. And so, while he's explaining this to all the troops are kind of like, I don't fucking know. And Pix is like, look, if you don't want to be here, go home. You're free to go. Like, don't care. Just no pussyfooting around.
Yeah, that's right. Because a lot of people are like losing their fucking marbles, like out and like when they're in like muster. They're just they're frightened.
Yeah, which you really can't blame them.
No, not at all.
But yeah, and so they kind of start to do this plan. And Eren's also being guarded by, we meet 3 new characters, Ian, Rico, and Matabi. And they're basically the best elites of the garrison unit.
Yep.
And so they're on their way to this giant boulder.
And they're also incredibly skeptical of this plan because they don't trust Eren. They don't trust Eren as far as they can fucking throw him.
Yeah, I mean, this all happened in the last, hour or so. Like, can we trust this kid? Like, is this gonna work? All this stuff. And so they get to the...
Like, we literally just watched this guy turn into a fucking skeleton.
Yeah, and so they make their way to this boulder, Chris. Eren, he turns into his Titan form by biting his hand.
Oh, boy.
And Mika's just sitting on the rooftop next to him, and then Eren just fucking swings on her.
Turns around and just fucking tries to cold cock her, man.
Yeah, and that's where this episode ends, and then going into episode 12.
Luckily, that did not end well. Oh boy, that did not go to plan, Kody.
Yeah, and then Mikasa's like trying to reason with him. He's in his Titan form. He is just still attacking.
And Ian and what's his name, Rico, they're just like, well, fucking shooting up the flare. This did not work.
Our plan is over. They they send up the red flare signal. And Eren like,
man, what's his name? Pax. What's his name?
Pixis.
Pixis, yeah. Pixis is just kind of like, all right, like because everyone else is still like way the fuck back.
Yeah, everybody and the other groups distracting the Titans, and it's like, well, now what the fuck do we do?
Yeah. Oh, this was quick.
Yeah, and like Eren basically he like attacks until he basically incapacitates himself until he like falls to the ground like hunched over. Like, it's still in his Titan form and all this stuff. And so Armin, being concerned, he heads over, and basically he like, I guess I'm kind of putting a little bit before the horse, but he lands on the back of Eren's neck, stabs into him, and starts talking to him, kind of just trying to like inspire him to, I know you're still in there, your whole 9 yards, like trying to get him, hyped up to do this thing. Meanwhile, we have Jean and Connie and Annie and their group, but Jean's ODM gear malfunctions and forces him to he falls down in an alleyway. He's stuck in between 2 Titans. Like, he is in a rough spot. Like, Jean's in dire straits. The whole crew is struggling here. And Armin basically inspires Eren. We see Eren he's in this almost dream state. Like he's almost remembering his family, everybody's all good, and you see Armin out the window,
on the window.
Eren, wake up! You still gotta kill all the Titans, blah blah blah. And then of course he regains control and all this stuff. Chris, he grabs the boulder and he starts heading towards the hole. Thankfully. Meanwhile, old boy Jean, he sees a dead soldier outside the window that he's trapped in. And then with the help of Annie, Connie, and Marco distracting the Titans, he's able to get back get this ODM gear off of a fellow dead soldier. Although I'm pretty sure that gear was also fucked up. Man's just having a rough.
Oh, dude, and Yeah, like the things like he's like barreling down on him. He's trying to get that fucking belt undone, dude. He is trying to get this shit.
Yeah, like, our boy Gene just can't get a good set of gear to save his
Dude,
life.
he's having a hard time.
Yeah, and so, but now, Aaron's got the boulder, plans back in effect.
That's right. Yeah, he's got it up, and you see it just fucking like over the like skyline. You just see the boulder like moving.
Yeah, and so he ends up plugging the hole with the help of Mikasa killing Titans and Levi killing. I mean, everybody's killing Titans out here. And then Armin, or no, it's when Armin puts the boulder, or excuse me, Aaron puts the boulder into the hole. Operation's a success. Rico fires the flare. Armin's trying to get Aaron out of the back of the Titan body. They get cornered by two Titans, and that's when Captain Levi.
There's a couple stragglers.
That's when Captain Levi shows up.
Yeah, he does.
And not only Levi, his whole group. We get to meet Erwin. We get to meet Hanji. Very important characters as we progress here. And then we kind of get like an Armin narrator talk. Like he's like, they managed to kill all of the rest of the Titans inside of Trost. They managed to capture 2 for research. And so yeah, with the help of Commander Erwin and Captain Levi and the Scout Regiment showing up.
But they also have thrown Aaron in the fucking clink.
Right, yeah, he's still kind of sketchy. Right? Don't know if we can trust him just yet. We got to have a chat with him. Meanwhile, Chris, we have Jean, Sasha, and Annie are basically on the front lines of identifying all of the bodies.
Oh man,
with like the
Rip
doctors.
Marco.
Yeah, and it turns out that Marco somehow was killed. This is Jean. Obviously, we know Marco was with Annie and Connie when they were like distracting the Titans, so Jean could get the ODM gear off that dead body. But seeing Marco dead, it's like, okay, that's our next like major death probably at this point. And like Sasha and Annie and all of them come across like the hairball of like human flesh.
Oh my god, it's so gross. Like it's just like teeth and faces and just all kinds of shit. And they're like, oh yeah, and they're like casually like, oh yeah, after a Titan gets full, they just spit it up.
Yeah, like a cat does a hairball. It's like,
yeah,
oh Jesus.
Like, well, that's just foul.
Yeah, but then meanwhile in Aaron's cell, he's being guarded by the MPs. He's visited by Captain Levi and Commander Erwin, and he's basically like, all right,
what's up with the basement? They're asking like, what's up with the basement?
Yeah, tell us what you know, brother. Like, we don't really know what you are. We're just trying to learn. We're trying to figure out what's going on. And Levi's
what's the haps, brother?
Levi's like, well, you're coming with us. I'm taking you under my wing. And Levi's basically like,
I don't really know what to think.
Yeah, he's like, you ever get out of pocket?
You're dead.
You're dead.
You're just fucking dead.
And Levi is not one to be fucked with. I mean, we've seen him kill Titans at this point, but we don't know yet. But Levi he's that guy. Yeah, that's kind of where we end at, Chris. The struggle for Trost has ended. Our main character has become a Titan guy. Like what?
And we're heading to the basement.
Yeah, the plan's to get to the basement.
Which we've got quite the trek. We've got to go back through some. We've got to go back through some other some other walls. Probably come face to face with some other Titans.
Yeah, because right now we're behind wall. Rose? God damn it, I'm getting them.
Yeah, we're behind wall Rose.
Yeah, we're still behind wall Rose. I guess we're technically in Tross, which is a little jut end of that. But they have to reclaim wall Maria, and then get to Shigatsuna, because Shigatsuna again is another outlier there. A nice ending point though. We got through the whole struggle for Trost. I was worried when we were watching it. I was like, I'm pretty sure 13 is where the struggle for Trost ends. I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah,
no, absolutely. We definitely stopped at the logical stopping point this week. And Kody, I can't wait to dive back in for more.
Yeah, man. The show is just, it's such an easy watch. Like, I had to like forcefully stop myself. Like, no, you need to go watch more One Piece. You can't watch any more of this right now. Like, I was like, dude, I would have trekked right through. I would have been on season 3 by now. Like, I would have just kept watching. And then, I guess we didn't really touch on it, but like, the show is fantastic, Chris. Like, the animation-wise, the voice acting.
Beautiful.
Like, World,
Dude, the voice acting is
everything
just insanely good.
Yeah, like I don't have a gripe about anything in this first season. Like the pacing is
Nothing.
like the pacing might seem a little fast, but
Mm-hmm.
like they keep you entertained. Like everything, like edge of your seat. Like maybe the easiest show we've watched. Like the easiest show just to continuously watch since we started the cast. Like easier to watch than like more. I don't know. It's like addicting to watch this show. Like
extremely.
Yeah, I just can't wait to dive into more. Even though I've
and we will.
And we got a crazy upbeat intro.
Dude, the intros and outros are terrific.
Yeah. I really have nothing bad to say about it. Like,
I got nothing.
I think my only gripe, and that's more of like a joke thing, and that's when Armin, at the beginning of every episode, he always says that fucking line where he's like, the Titans took over as if wholesale destruction was child's play, and he says that every fucking episode, and there's memes about that too. But, yeah, I mean,
well, Kody, you know they say wholesale destruction is child's play.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And if I didn't know, I do now. I know now.
That's
Armin
right.
has beaten it into my head. Yeah, man. I have no gripes about the show. I don't. Like, if I could find anything, I'd have to like be like nitpicky, but.
Oh yeah, you have to dig to find something negative about it. Like you genuinely do.
Yeah, and most of it is just a mystery for like, oh, what happened? What? How did Marco die? Like, oh, I'm sure we'll find out. Like, the show's just like, it's great. Like, it's just fucking great.
Yeah, and they're not afraid to take a couple, take 2 steps back to take 2 steps forward. Like they'll show anything that happened off screen. They have no problem showing us, in some form of flashback or what have you.
Yeah, especially like I think the main parts of that would be like Aaron's like dreams that he's seeing, like what's going on with and we'll just have to we'll have to stick around and find out. But
yep, his dreams, him turning into a Titan.
Yeah, that is the first 13 episodes though, Chris.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. We won't put it on our ranking until season 1's over.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just
all I've got.
It's just great, Chris. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm gonna pour myself another mimosa, Chris, and then yeah. Anything else before we wrap this episode up, Chris? I can't wait to dive in and watch more, man.
Same, dude. Yeah, I'm just ready to move on. I am beyond in. I can't wait to to continue down this path and start getting onto some things in the show that I have not seen, which is truthfully the majority of it. So I'm actually really, really excited.
Because you haven't seen season 2 yet, even, right?
I have not. So yeah, this is all. Well, I mean, we're still in charted territory. I'll be getting to uncharted territory very soon.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I can't wait for you to experience it. Chris. This is a show I've shown my dad. My dad's a big he likes horror movies and zombie movies. So any like gory anime, I can show him, and he'll be like, "Oh, that was pretty cool." So he's actually even seen like the first couple episodes of this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like. Show is just
that's good.
Just great. I can't wait to dive into more. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Chris, are we gonna just go into season 2 after season 1's over, or do we want to break this up?
I am okay to dive right into more.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll see after season 2 if we want to throw a movie for season 3. We'll throw something else in the mix. That way we can have a poll.
We've got options. We've definitely got options.
Oh, absolutely. But,
so
that's going to do it for this week on Shonen and Suds, guys. I am Kody Snodgrass.
And I am Chris Adams, and I regret to inform you we did not introduce ourselves at the top of this, but you know what? You fucking know who we are by now. But you know what? We'll see you next time, and I'm going to drink the rest of this coffee.